Welcome back to Attack on Titan. I guess Eren still wants to fight. I love Hanji just because she's like, you're acting like a psycho right now, and I'm gonna call you out for it. And I also want to know what you're talking about. Well, that's debatable. I feel like most people probably have. Shut up, Eren. Don't be such a sourpuss. Interesting. Alright. Why does this intro go so hard every time? A sound argument. I think we're getting a very dialogue-heavy episode. 2 years ago. We keep bouncing back. How many times are we going to be doing that? Again, they are way too accommodating. Every time they throw something at them like, oh, you're not doing that. They're like, oh, that's okay. I just like being helpful. I don't believe it. No way she was important. I kind of figured too much time had passed and she wasn't actually important at all. I guess she is. What? Okay. No way. What? I actually kind of love that because Mikasa basically just being Eren's love interest has never really done it for me, but her being like a potential ruler of another nation, hell yes. In some ways, sure. Okay. So this was 2 years ago, and Eren was able to, you know, smile and be a little lighthearted then. Which is one of the reasons everyone's been super shitty to Paradise. I would not trust Zeke. I would not do that. Okay. That sounds like a terrible idea. How do you know that you can only release a sample though? Like, what if you lose control of that shit? Well, that especially can't happen right now. You make a very good point, Hanji. The answer to that, I think, is no, you definitely shouldn't. I know damn well you're not actually going to inherit the Beast Titan. I don't know why, but I know damn well. You also make a good point right there. Hell yeah, that's the Eren I know and love. Or, not even really love, but that's the Eren I've been wanting to see. She's like, but I wanted to be the Beast Titan. Oh, I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. Yeah, and I kind of wish you didn't have that ability, to be totally honest. Great. Oh, what the fuck is this? You fucking touch her like that ever again, Eren. Again, I'll bet that was a play. I bet he did that on purpose to freak her out because he's doing something. I don't know what, but... Aw. Still, I just hate the... I have to pretend to be an asshole thing in order for my plan to work. Excuse me? Wasn't expecting that. I also don't even know if he's just pretending. Like, he could just genuinely be a fucking prick. Like, I don't know. Shut the fuck up. Aww, she met someone she really likes. What a dick. Oh, that's actually kind of sweet. I care about it. Shut the fuck up. Oh, that's kind of interesting, though. That's super fucked up. You have no idea what might happen. Oh, what is happening? What is going on? What is happening? No, I don't like this. I wanted Niccolo to be super cool. Like, I don't want to dislike him for some reason. Bullshit, bullshit. No. I always forget that Levi's like such a little dude. How exactly are you supposed to do that? Yeah. People fear what they don't, I love her.
マーレに拠点を
She's like, yeah, they don't know us, so let's go introduce ourselves. She's so cool.
料理にしたつつも
Oh, Sasha.
俺何持っていこ
It genuinely hurts every time she mentions
アン
food.
ジさんの話
アッカーマン家が何なのかまだ分かってねえんだ。狂人になってどうする？
Man, Hizaru only cares about money. Fucking whatever.
他にだ
An Ackerman Titan, I feel like that would be a really cool combination.
実際俺以上の人材がいるか？
Mikasa.
そんなすげえやつを
Sasha
13年で見お前は兵団の指導者とか目指せよ
Oh, but that's
エレン
so
の基準は俺が継ぐ
cute.
から
He's like, we don't want to lose someone as cool as you in 13 years, so it should go to someone
よ
else.
くないですよバカにそんな重要なことを任せられるわけないじゃないですか私が継ぎますよ実戦経験もあって
They're all game to
信
do
頼でき
it,
るのは
but
私たちくらいなら
I know Aaron doesn't want to give it to any of them because it is a death sentence.
お前は俺よりもバカなんだから言ってることが無理
Why is it so
お前ら
serious?
に継承させるつもりはない長生きしてほしい
Oh, but Sasha sure as fuck didn't. What the fuck, man? That may genuinely be one of the sweetest scenes on this whole show. Just all of them, you know, looking out for one another. I get the feeling we're not going to get a whole lot of that moving
義
forward,
勇
but
兵の拘束が俺たちは危険な状態にあるんだ。
I don't think Zeke's intentions are ever
そし
going
て
to be
突然ジークの
clear,
計画にの真相は本人たちにしか分
and
から
I'm
ない。
sure we as the audience will not find that out
お前
for
らにはあれ
a
が
little
エ
while.
レンに奴を切る覚悟をしておく必要が
Damn.
ある
そんなことさせない
Mikasa, I
お
love
前
you,
もそっちにつくのか
but you
ミカサ
you blindly follow Eren
そ
no
んなこと
matter
にはならない
what.
と思うエレンは誰よりも私たちを思っている
I don't know. I think it might come to that. Like, it really does seem like it's getting down to the fact that he's choosing him over you guys. I'm sure that's not what it really is, but that's sure what it seems like.
お前を戦場に呼んだ。
Yes, he did.
あいつが大事だと言った俺も。こうに
サシャが死ぬこともなかっただろうな
Also true.
ミカサ悔しがったと思うか
No, he
Goni.
laughed.
サシャが死んだことのどこが
Ay.
なんでエレンは笑ったのか
I kind of want to hear your
エレ
answer,
ンのことは何で
Mikasa.
もわかるんだろ
You
う
want to follow him down every path he takes? Explain that to me.
エレンと話そうエレンの始祖を継承する選択だ
Are you really saying that, Armin? That's fucking crazy. Why do they keep focusing on this wine? It's really bothering me. Are you? Fuck you. Fuck the show. I hate them for ending it like that. Another good episode. This one, I do think it was, if not the weakest episode, one of the weaker ones, just because it's a lot of flashbacks, a lot of dialogue, and as far as I can tell, I think we got one thing in this episode that progressed the plot. The rest of this was kind of explaining where the characters are at and, you know, why certain people are acting the way they are. So by no means do I think this was a bad episode. It was great. But I think the pacing was definitely hurting a little bit just because you'd go from present day, then cut back to 2 years ago, and sometimes those scenes 2 years ago would last a pretty decent chunk of time before you'd actually bounce back to the present. Like the episode opened with Hanji and Eren talking in present day. And then it cuts away to 2 years ago and shows you, you know, Hizuru, the, I guess, official plan that Zeke proposed to everybody, how they denied it. And that whole scene is probably like 8 to 10 minutes long, and then you finally cut back to present day, where you hang out and see a couple more things, get the reveal that Historia is pregnant, which in my opinion is the only major development in the episode. But then right after that, you again go 2 years back and you get, you know, a couple scenes of them building the railroad and having a really nice touching moment, before they then cut back to the present again, where they're kind of having the same discussion about that, which in my opinion, I think that transition worked a lot better than the previous one earlier in the episode. I think what would have helped the pacing is if they had found a way to cut back and forth between present and past a little more rapidly. The fact that you would spend, you know, a little bit of time in the present and then a long amount of time in the past and then a little bit of time in the present and then a little bit of time in the past, like the fact that it wasn't balanced very well is kind of what killed the pacing for me. But I'll get more into that later when we do technical stuff. Eren is quickly becoming a not least favorite character, but most unlikable character. And I guarantee that that is on purpose. I don't think they're trying to do this character as like, oh no, this is how he's progressed as a person. Maybe a little bit, but I genuinely think he has a plan up his sleeve. Maybe he really does have a plan with Zeke, but I think he himself has a plan that only he knows about. And in order to achieve that plan, I'm guessing he has to do these pretty shitty things. My guess is not only to achieve his goal, but also to kind of distance himself from the people around him. And I only say that because they went out of their way to show that 2 years ago, Eren valued their lives over his own, more than anything else. He didn't want any of them to inherit the Titan because he wanted them to all live long, happy lives. So for them to cut back to the present and show that he has completely disregarded what he said and is now seemingly just going along with Zeke's plan and, sacrificing Historia in the process, that tells me he didn't just, out of nowhere decide, oh, I'm gonna be a bad person. I'm gonna be a shithead to all my friends. I think somewhere along the line, he realized something, and again, in order to do that, he needs to push all these people away, and he needs to do some really fucked up things in order to achieve it. What his goal or how he has this goal, I have no fucking idea. Knowing this show, I will know at some point, but that moment is not now. But yeah, overall, the episode was all about character and seeing exactly why these people are doing what they're doing. And amazingly enough, for a character episode that's meant to explore the intentions of characters, they do that with every character except Eren. Very intentionally so. They're like, this is what, they're thinking, and this is why they're doing this. You have no idea why Zeke and Eren are doing what they're doing, though. They're the only two who you are just completely in the dark for. And might I add, I fucking hate that he now has the Warhammer Titan abilities. Or, you know what, not specifically that he has those abilities. That would be fine, whatever. I hate in any media when a character either gains a new ability or already just has a shit ton of power. Like, everyone knows they're super strong, they know they're super strong, but rather than use those abilities, I don't know, in a not shitty way, they do shit like that where they're like, you do realize no prison could ever hold me. Like, I'm only here because I'm choosing to be. Like, I hate that smug fucking attitude. Again, I think he's doing it on purpose to, intentionally piss off Hanji and all these other people. But I hate that fucking trope of, like, a really powerful person who knows it and is just super nonchalant and shitty about it. But I'm getting sidetracked. Technical time. How fun was the episode? I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10 because overall it was very dialogue heavy. It was very, quiet and subdued. But the reason I want to bump it up to a 6 is for the genuinely sweet, heartfelt moments on the train tracks. Like, there was really good comedy in that scene. There was really good emotional beats in that scene. Like, I would say all of the fun in this episode was reserved for that moment. Everything else was very serious and somber. How important was the episode? I'm gonna give it another 6 out of 10. Because like I said, the only major development you get in this episode is the fact that Historia is pregnant now. And therefore cannot have a Titan passed on to her. The rest of it was a lot of character exploration, figuring out, why they did this, why they did that. And you could argue that that is very important, but I just didn't think there was enough in this episode to warrant it as, like, a pivotal moment in the story or something. How cinematic was the episode? 10 out of 10. Once again, this anime, more than any I've seen, has a very cinematic approach specifically to its editing. Like, from what I can tell, a lot of animes and animated shows in general will have either very long takes or very, like, evenly cut takes, because I'm assuming the artists, want what they worked on to be visible. Here, they'll do shots that last half a second, They'll do shots that last a really long time. They'll do really cool techniques where they hold on something for a while, then do a quick take to something else before it cut to black. And stuff like that really makes the show feel cinematic, dynamic, and certainly helps episodes like this when there's literally no action at all. If you really had to pin like a genre on this show, action is not what I would categorize it as. But the fact is, it does have a lot of action, and there are some people that watch it pretty much solely for that. So again, making the episodes so cinematic and film-like really help specifically for episodes like this. Music in the episode, this might be the first one I didn't actually like notice the music at all. I know it was there, which means it was never distracting, which is a good thing. But I can't even remember one moment where it stood out or I thought, oh, that like really fits the scene. That's like super cool. The closest I can come to that is probably the very last shot of the episode when it cuts to Zeke, just because the way they do the sound design, like cut it out right at the to be continued moment, was very effective. So overall for music, I'm gonna do a 7 out of 10. Effects, I'm gonna go with... There weren't really a lot of effects to be seen in this episode. Again, with no action scenes or anything, it seems like either everything or a vast majority of everything in this episode was, you know, just animated by hand and done in a more traditional way. However, they always have to use some effects for, like, the glow on a fire or a candle or someone's glasses or something, and in those cases it looked fantastic. They did a great job. But because there was nothing that was like effects heavy intentionally, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Costume and set design, as always, I really enjoy it on this show. I've said it before, it feels, you know, stylish and cool looking while at the same time feeling very real and functional. A lot of animes have insane looking outfits that look really cool, but when you try to think of like, how do you put that on, it's just literally impossible. And that's never the case on this show. Everything just feels very grounded and real. And I would dock the episode a little bit in terms of design, just because the locations of the episode I found to be pretty lackluster. Like there was a couple moments where I'm like, could they have had this conversation somewhere else? Like, this is a pretty boring looking room. However, what saves the episode is the whole train scene, because the design like of the tracks and the little carts that they're in, I think is, I don't know, it's just really smart. Like, it's not a full on train, it's like a little mining cart essentially. It's pretty sure it's the first train system they've literally ever built on this island. No, I just thought the design of that whole thing was quite good. So I'm gonna go for another 8 out of 10 on that. Acting, I'm gonna go with a 10 out of 10 because there were several very standout moments to me. I think the actor playing Hanji did a fantastic job in the opening moments, because as usual, Hanji has the ability to be like, oh, I'm just so scatterbrained and, you know, just kind of talking out of my ass, and then slowly bring it around to, yeah, I know what's going on here, so why don't you tell me what's up, because you're being fucking weird. Like, the way the intonation of her voice is very well done during scenes like that. And the actor playing Aaron in that same scene did a fantastic job, because again, the character has consistently been a wild card in terms of just how angry he'll get and just, you know, explode. This does not feel like that anymore. Like, you can feel it through the way they animate him. You can feel it through the actor and how he actually, you know, voices the lines. Because it's like a whole different character, honestly. Because the way he threatened Hanji, like, he did get angry and a little loud. But for the most part, he was just so cold and utterly calculated in a way that he just never is. But there was also the moment where the actor playing Connie did a fantastic job, you know, kind of interrogating Mikasa, saying like, why was he laughing, huh? Why don't you explain that to me? And there was some great comedic moments with Sasha and Connie with the whole, huh? Like, that was great. And then the pacing. This I'm gonna have to give a 3 out of 10. I love the show, I really do, but this episode did drag. I'm perfectly fine with, an actionless episode. But as I mentioned before, the way they split the episode into like a long chunk of the past and then like a short chunk of the present and then a little bit longer from the past and then a long chunk from the present. Like, it just felt very disjointed. If they had found a way to marry the past and present a little bit more smoothly, then I think this would have done much, much better. And that leaves this episode with a 7.3 out of 10. Maybe a little harsh, but I do think out of the season, this is probably the weakest episode. Again, not even necessarily because of the content or anything. I enjoyed a lot of these character moments. I enjoyed the bits of story progression that we did get, but the pacing just really killed this one for me. It was too stop and go. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy the episode. Least favorite of them so far, but still very good. And I'm trying really, really hard to not just immediately jump down Aaron's throat and be like, you fucking suck. Because again, I'm so sure he has some kind of plan like deep, deep up his sleeve right now. But even still, it's so hard to see him talk to Hanji like that. Like, that alone was hurtful. I really didn't like that. But then right after, to see Hanji like slump to the floor and be like, Erwin, you fucked up making me a commander and having to deal with this. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, man. Hanji doesn't deserve that bullshit. But I know. Hold my, judgments and reservations for later, because this show just loves to pull out the rug from under you. And then there's the very ending of the episode where everyone is drinking wine except for Zeke. I don't like it, dude. Something is going on. Something not good is going on. But anyways, I will see you all next time, and that is about it.